Good morning. I'm Mayor Tommy Roberts. Welcome back to the Mayor's Table. My guest this morning is Councilor Nate Duckett. Nate, good to have you again.
Good morning, Mayor.
Yeah.
Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July to you. It's a fun holiday. Lots going on in Farmington.
Yes, sir.
Over the 4th of July.
Freedom Days is a good time to be here in Farmington.
It is good to be around. And something we look forward to every year. Plenty for people to do.
Yes.
And there's plenty to do in the outdoors.
That is true. We live in the perfect area if you want to do something outside here in the Four Corners, or anywhere in America. I mean, this is the place to be for outdoor recreation. So I'm glad you brought me on here today.
Yeah, and that's all we're going to talk about today is
Right.
the outdoor recreation industry. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of buzz about outdoor recreation, and a lot of that generated by our local Convention and Visitors Bureau, Tanya Stinson, there leading that organization and doing a lot of good things.
Yes, sir. Tanya and the CVB and the staff there, along with their board, have certainly pushed the branding of Farmington and trying to reach out to our community and find out who do we want to be. I think that's an important question for communities to discuss, and what has come out of this work is that we want to be an outdoor recreation community. There's a lot of people who are here who enjoy the rivers and the lakes and the hiking and the off-roading and those things. So through kind of that component, Tanya and her team and Jim Glover with the marketing group that they've brought on, they've kind of transitioned this a little bit to show what possibilities lay here for us to have an outdoor recreation industry where this community really get behind and something that could thrive.
The branding exercise from 2 to 3 years ago, I think created a lot of interest, a lot of energy, and a lot of synergy about what Farmington and San Juan County area can be. And that branding exercise really gave us a kind of a brand tag.
Sure.
We're now jolting our journey in almost everything we do.
Yes.
And I think it's a very catchy phrase, and I think it's been one that has been utilized in a lot of different interesting ways to create interest in what there is to do in Farmington. We stay in Farmington, play in Farmington, work in Farmington.
Right.
And it's created a lot of energy. And this is somewhat of an offshoot of that branding exercise, and but it's a very important effort, I think, locally, because we're really needing to figure out a way to generate more economic activity in Farmington and San Juan County. We've been in a state of recession for
Right.
8 to 9 years now, with some peaks there, some bumps up, but never ever getting back to our high water mark of about 2009 in the context of revenues generated to the city of Farmington for its operations. So
Sure.
this is consistent with our economic development program locally. Tell us about some of the efforts that are being made to raise the level of discussion about outdoor recreation in our community.
Sure. So here recently we had a little outdoor recreation symposium at San Juan College, which brought together a lot of the different partners and entities here in San Juan County, and that was hosted as well by the CVB. But the symposium was there to present information and to bring forth entrepreneurs who are actually engaged in outdoor recreation industry here currently. The great conversation that came out of it, of course, is that there's a town north of here called Moab who has made a determination that they are going to be the outdoor recreation epicenter of Utah and really of our region, and they're taking big advantage of that. There's no crystal ball, of course, for what the future looks like in regards to some of the industries that have been stalwarts here and have kind of kept us going as far as oil and gas and coal and energy production. So this industry is something that's really, in my opinion, I grew up here, you grew up here, there's an untapped potential here where we can highlight some of those natural amenities that have been here forever that we just haven't been able to take advantage of from an economic standpoint. So this group got together, discussed some of these things, had the entrepreneurs here to discuss some of the things that they're doing locally. We've got a Go Adventures group that's going to be starting this year, be doing rafting and tubing in Aztec. They hope to expand to Farmington and Bloomfield to utilize the river corridor better. We've got a group out at Farmington Lake, of course, who's been doing the paddle shack and the snow shack and renting out paddle boards and kayaks and those things for folks out on the lake. And then there's a manufacturer here in Aztec, actually. They're looking for a new home, Mr. Mayor. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but we'd be interested. Obviously, Jack's Plastic Welding is manufacturing outdoor recreation bags and different things that are being really sold all over the world. So we can see where some of these things are already happening here locally. We know nationwide this is they say it's $800 billion industry of spending and the obvious tax revenues that would be available for communities for services that we provide from the municipality. Those are really big items and something that we should be considering. We have Glade Recreation Run. We have the three rivers that run through Farmington and San Juan County. We've obviously spent time developing Lake Farmington, and not to mention Navajo Lake, quality water. So for fishing, hiking, camping, off-roading, I mean, all these things are built into this greater economic pie, so to speak, that we believe we can take advantage of.
There are a lot of potential stakeholders, and part of the organizing challenge is to bring together all of those stakeholders and bring them together in a way that works cohesively,
Sure.
Works efficiently to accomplish a purpose and a goal. Those stakeholders include Four Corners Economic Development Service, the Chambers of Commerce, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and then the private sector. And so the number of potential partners is it's finite, but there are a lot of them.
There's a lot of them.
And we need to tap in. So how is that being organized?
Well, there was, at the end of this symposium that we attended, they had asked for volunteers to kind of put together a task force of people, and interestingly, we managed to get an individual from each one of those entities. San Juan County is represented, the college is represented, the city of Farmington, some of these entrepreneurs, the private sector, Four Corners Economic Development. They all raised their hands and said, we'd like to do it. So we're actually going to start meeting here, I believe, next week or later this week to kind of start this process. And I think what we're looking at is, in my opinion, is what is the low-hanging fruit? How can we, or how can each of these entities do their piece of this, or bring their piece of the puzzle together so that we can highlight these areas first, take care of what we already have, improve on what we already have, before maybe venturing out to other things. We did a tour here recently with our traffic director, Rob Mays, myself, Corey Styron, the Parks and Rec group, looking just at how can we highlight through signage the outdoor recreation amenities that we have here, so that if you came from out of town, or even if you're here in town now, you would know where to go, or know at least that they exist, to go and enjoy those things with your family, your friends, or by yourself. So it's already in motion. I'm really excited about actually the amount of work that's already been put into some of these ideas. And I think going forward, the sky could be the limit. I mean, I think this is, when we narrow our focus down into something that we can do well, which I believe we can do this well, we've got an opportunity to do something great.
City of Farmington is all in on this this initiative, and of course, I like to say as frequently as I have the opportunity to say it that Four Corners Economic Development Service is the economic development arm of the City of Farmington. We fund that organization significantly and to a greater extent than any other governmental entity in San Juan County. And but we see that there are benefits to being in a partnership for economic development that we might not otherwise realize if we were on our own out there,
Right.
Had our own economic development department. So the City of Farmington's all in, actually walking the talk. You've been a pusher of that buy-in by the City of Farmington. You proposed a resolution to be considered by the City Council, which it adopted. Talk a little bit about the impetus for that resolution.
Sure. It actually came out of an article that I read probably 5-6 months ago, where the outdoor recreation industry, they have a big component of it that hosts a annual convention. Actually, I think it's 2 times a year in Utah, and they had pulled out of Utah due to some concerns about how Utah was managing its lands. And I had sent an email to Tanya Stinson, and I believe even Shauna Reese here at the city at the time, saying, how can we get involved in this now? And so that kind of started a conversation in my mind, and then slowly through talking with Tanya at the CVB and Jim Glover with our marketing group there, I said, how can the city make that first step forward to say that we truly want the outdoor industry to thrive here and to bring new companies or jobs, or to grow current ones that are here that are really designed just for this entity: hiking, camping, fishing, boating, all those things. How can we make that work? So the resolution idea kind of came from that, because I've seen that in the last 3 years as a way for us to say, hey, this is who we are and what we stand for. And I think it's kind of a call to action for our community and not just the entities that support Farmington, but all the people and the businesses here as well. Because if you're putting your money into a certain industry right now where the future is kind of murky, and there's a possibility here to look and see what's going on nationally for outdoor recreation, or just what's happened here regionally with outdoor recreation, you could see that maybe I should start moving my money from one thing to another thing and grow what has a big potential behind it.
The data, the statistics that are relevant to outdoor recreation are pretty staggering, and so we know that there's a large pie out there, and we, I think, need to realize that we need to take a chunk of that pie, a fairly large slice of that pie. We have the natural resources available to us that provide the foundation for that kind of industry. It's consistent with the efforts of the Economic Development Organization as well, that has targeted the tourism industry as a target industry. So I think the effort here that's been created by the Convention Visitors Bureau is something that a lot of the other stakeholders can take hold of and try to advance in partnership with the other stakeholders. I think there's a huge potential, a huge niche here, and we want to thank you for taking that lead from the perspective of the Farmington City Council. In closing this segment, Nate, do you have anything else you'd like to add, something that we haven't talked about that's important?
I think there's just it's a call to our community to say, here's something. When we talk about economic development and we talk diversifying our economy, we talk about it all the time. Well, here's really a segment of that it truly has some meat to it. And I would like people to pay more attention to it, know obviously that the city is doing what we can, even in regards to not just the natural amenities, but the things we're developing out at Farmington Lake, at the beach, or the River Reach Foundation and the work of the city of Farmington for our river walks. Riverfest this year was a fantastic success. It's beautiful. Take advantage of those things, but be an advocate for Farmington probably more than anything. When people come here, they visit here, they ask what there is to do here, man, it's really endless what you can do outdoors. So be an advocate for our city. Get out there and enjoy the things that we have here and make Farmington what we know it can be.
I think it's consistent with our ideas that we need to continue to pursue quality of life programs and projects in our city. Just because we're experiencing difficult financial times doesn't necessarily mean that we have to sit on our hands and just watch it pass us by.
No.
There are some things that we can do from a fiscally prudent perspective and a fiscally responsible perspective, and this is something that we can do. The planning stages generally are not too expensive, and then we hope to get the return on all of that planning effort, and on the back end where we get people actually investing dollars in our community. And so it's part of the planning process.
Yeah.
Nate, I want to thank you for your efforts on this subject matter and your engagement with others, trying to push it along. We'll look forward to it. So we're asking our viewers to stay tuned and stay involved and stay informed.
Sure.
We want to thank all of you for joining us here again this morning on the Mayor's Table. And we'll look forward to seeing you again next Monday.